Hello everyone! In this video we are going to check out a plugin. It is called Butterfly and it is made by Dark Palace Studio, who also made these plugins. And I have affiliate links to them that you can use if you want to buy a plugin but also have some of the money donated to me. I once took down those affiliate links because this developer had no refund support, but then he changed his mind and now there are refunds. So my affiliate links are all ethical again. I don't tell you to buy these products, but if you feel like buying them anyway, then you can use the affiliate link. Okay, now that we have talked about this, let's actually get started. This is, first of all, this is the music that we are working with this time.
Das, was von dir bleibt, was Geschichte schreibt. Ein Master MX5 und der heißt immer durch die Nacht. Wenn das Feuer der Straße entfacht, denk ich an dich bei einer Miatafahrt.
So as you can see now, I make dream Schlager. That is the genre that I'm making now, and it's been a blast so far. And I already used Butterfly on one of these sounds. There is this sound, and it stretches throughout the whole project, at least where there are vocals, because it is actually the process of resonating the vocals in a specific way. And this sound is already stereo. Pretty much even. So why would I need a stereo effect on it? Because that's the thing about Butterfly. It is a plugin that is meant for stereo enhancement. But I don't even see it like that. It has a very peculiar combination of audio processing in it that can barely be described with a specific use case, which sounds very confusing and could be considered a weakness. But I mean, it transformed this sound in the following way. Now obviously the output signal was also a little bit louder. I know, I was not gain matching it perfectly, but I just like the way it changed the texture. You can also see it on the interface that there are filters going on in the shape of a Formant filter, and the less saturated color in the background indicates that there is the same filter going on but inverted in some way, and you can already guess what that means with these words mid and side. It is a Formant filter that applies the other thing to the other channel, and you can have the channel separated as mid-side but also as left-right, in which case this would sound like this. Actually quite similar. Also there are upwards compressors, one for each channel, so mid-side or left-right, and Pre-EQs, so that you can shape the behavior of the compressor a little bit. All of these controls down here are for the filter. I will show you what that looks like very soon, but I don't want to mess with this patch because I already like how it sounds in the context of the music. It runs in the whole song.
Miatafahrt am Abend, tut der Seele gut. Ich hab Zeit für mich und ich genieße es. Nimm Miatafahrt am Abend, ich lass die Reifen qualmen. Ich denke an dich.
It just adds so much glow.
Das, was von dir bleibt, nach all der Zeit, ist nur der MX5.
Und der bleibt. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Whatever. The next thing that I'm going to do is using the effect on these snaps. Now I am going to use butterfly on these snaps, because you might have already seen in one of my earlier videos about the Miatafahrt that one of the things that repeat throughout the whole album is that I always use these extremely wide snaps and claps that I create by layering a lot of them together and panning them hard. So naturally this sound doesn't really need that much of a stereo width tool at this point, but maybe I can just get a different character out of it. I think that's more where the strength of this plugin lies. I think you will see what I mean. Now here, for example, it's already starting to get a little bit interesting, because now on the side signal there is this massive upwards compressor, and it kind of gets a little bit more of a sand character out of these snaps that I didn't even know was there. And now I added a little bit of side delay. So the delay is only on the side. It's not left, right. It's mid-side at the moment. So you can imagine just everything that is stereo has been delayed, if that makes sense. And I think you can hear it. It makes everything sound a little bit more like a drop of water. Because, you know, that when the roominess of the sound is kind of delayed, it creates the sense that there is some sort of distance. And it does so without adding a reverb. That's pretty cool. At the moment I cannot hear the effect of the filter very well, but I also had situation where the material was a little bit more complex, and then you can hear the difference it makes to the way the compressor is working. For now let's just go on with the Formant filter. So this is the gain of the Formant filter. It can be positive or negative. And you can decide how many filters should there be. Let's take the maximum amount. Now we have a parameter for the bandwidth. When we choose a more resonant tone, it sounds a bit like a modal filter, because you can hear the filters ringing out. It's not going that resonant though, could be a little bit more. And on the other side we have the very broad filters that make it a little bit less obvious what kind of shape the filter really has. So this seems to be a good compromise if we want the filter to not be too apparent on the clap. Now, but what I really like about this thing is that you can actually make the filters not be distributed linearly, but also dial in this remap function, which makes it sound more like a Formant filter. Yeah, that is definitely a cool way to think about equalization, because oftentimes I've also made a video about that. I called it the Torge EQing technique, and you might think that this was a joke video. Maybe to some extent it was, because, you know, the most important thing in EQing is definitely not that it looks like a mountain pass, but to some extent it was also really serious, because oftentimes when I'm making EQ curves, they are just about being complex, because when you have a complex EQ going on, then that means that everything you make with that in parallel will sound just as complexly far away from that. And if you then even add a complex EQ to that layer as well, then it becomes even twice as far away as before. In terms of complexity, that's just a really easy way to get your sound to be vibrant and not all the same clashing kind of stuff. And yeah, that's basically what I see here in this plugin as well, the same philosophy, because you have a lot of filters and you are moving them around with a few macros instead of touching every filter by hand. And then you just approach some sort of character that you want to carve out of the sound with it, without being super specific about the exact frequencies and stuff that no one cares about anyway. So yeah, this is a streamlined way to get that kind of workflow. Let's actually use a layer for that. Let's try this.
Ich lass die Reifen qualmen. Ich denke an dich, wie's dir wohl geht. Das, was von dir bleibt, nach all der Zeit, ist nur der MP5.
Yeah, I can hear how the snaps just cut through the mix slightly more, and even though I made this whole patch while listening in solo, I mean that's part of my workflow anyway. Everyone is always so anti-solo, but I always feel like if I just listen to things in isolation, then I can just tune them to be just exactly where I imagine them to be, and then when they come together with the other sounds in my project, then obviously it fits because the other sounds are made in the same way. So they all try to fit into my mental image, which is always the same in some sense, except that it's a little bit different every day. But let's not go into detail about that now. I hope I have not confused you too much, but this is Butterfly and the end of the video. See you next time.